Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. Today I'm going to talk about a couple of the Kastking reels that I've been using. The MG-Ti here I've been using for about 7 months now, and the AL-Ti I've been using this reel for about 3 months now. We'll compare them, we'll go over what they both offer, and I'll tell you what I think is going to be the best reel for your application. Both great reels, so let's sit down and talk about them. Let's talk about these Kastking reels, and to start off with, I want to tell you straight off that Kastking provides me with the product to do the reviews on. I think this is maybe the third review that I've done. The first review was on the Kastking deadbolt reels. The second review was on the MG-Ti when that came out. I'm going to be talking about that reel today, and the reel that I'm going to kind of focus on here and maybe do some cross comparisons with the MG-Ti, which is the magnesium frame, compared to the aluminum frame, or the AL-Ti that I will be talking about today. Kastking knows when any product that I get from them or any other company that sends me product, I tell them right off the bat, send it to me. If I like it, if I think the people that watch my channel will like it, I will do a review on it. If not, you know, I'll keep it and send it off to a friend, or I'll box it and send it back to you, but I will not do a review on it. So with that, you probably know that I like the Kastking reels. I've made a deal with Kastking. If they're going to send me products to review, I want extra product. Or what I do with that extra product is send that to the local high school fishing clubs in our area, or the local youth fishing clubs, and they use those products to raffle off, to get money to keep their programs going. This AI or AL-Ti reel that I have been using for the last 3 months, as soon as we get done with the review today, it's going over to Brad Soto from the Delta Saints, and they're going to be raffling this reel off. I still have the box for it. They sent me a nice little hat, nice little Kastking coffee mug, and a whole little kind of gift package. It's all nice and pretty. We'll clean this up, and this is going to the Delta Saints. You may ask, well, Steve, why do you still have this MG-Ti? And this is where we're going to get down to the nuts and bolts of this whole review. Why do you still have the MG-Ti? You've been using it for 7 months now. I still have that reel on, and I'm still using it because I'm going to use it for 1 year to give you a 1-year review. The first review that I did, I was really, I'll be polite and say PO'd with some of the responses I got. Why am I using this junk? It's from out of country, and they're just a piece of garbage. I took offense to that because I had used the reel at that point for about 3 months, and I had found no problems with it. So I put it out that I'm going to use that reel for a year. And by the way, I'll just mention that I fish about 175, maybe 200 days a year. I fish year-round from January 1st all the way through December. I fish here on the California Delta, which is not kind to any fishing gear. It's dirty water. There's a lot of heavy, we'll just call particulates in the water that can get in and reel and clog it up. We've got vegetation all over, and it's a tough environment to test any type of gear on, especially fishing reels. So with that, after 3 months, I had 0 problems with this MG-Ti, and I really loved it. I still love it. And this is my 3 months of fishing is probably equal to most weekend anglers for a couple of years. After 6 months, I probably put 5 years of use on this thing. So let me just tell you about the MG-Ti to start off with. I've run it for 6-7 months now, and I have run this thing hard. I've used a variety of different baits, and I still like it today as much as I like it when I got it. We'll go over all the advantages of this reel as I talk about the AL-Ti too, but I have not had one problem with this. You know, a lot of times you'll get these, and this is an expensive reel. This is a $330 reel, I believe. But a lot of times you have the little insignias drop off of it, or you'll get the thumb bar drops off, or you'll lose, you know, you'll start to feel the reel kind of break in and it's not as smooth. 7 months on this, using it on a daily basis when I'm out here under a variety of conditions. It is as smooth and as nice as the day that I got it. So that's what I want to tell everybody that gave me the flack last time. We'll let this boat go by here. That's what I want to tell all the people that gave me flack in the comments. Number one, why are you putting that on an NRX rod? It's just a KastKing reel. You know, this rod deserves a better reel. Well, after 7 months, I haven't changed this reel out. And if you don't believe me, watch some of my videos. I catch a lot of fish on this particular NRX rod, and you will see that this reel is on there. I didn't change it for this. So let's just put that to rest. I've used this hard. I like it. This is a very good reel. Now, one other thing that I want to talk about, because I got flack that KastKing is having their reels made in China. Yes, they are, but I will tell you this. I've talked to a lot of the KastKing representatives, and to a T, they are very adamant that, number one, they own their own manufacturing plant in China. So they have total control over their own KastKing reels and their own quality control. And I want to go over this right now. And again, this is getting off the subject, and I'm a little bit PO'd to start this thing because I got so much flack because I was using KastKing stuff. Here's the deal. Shimano, you guys all know what Shimano does. Where are they made? Well, high-end stuff, high-end Shimanos, they're made in Japan. Once you get down to the Curados, they're either made in Malaysia or China. Let's talk about Daiwa. High-end Daiwa, again, made in Japan. But we're talking about reels, $400, $500, $600 reels, not the level of reels we're talking about here in the $200 to $300 range, which I think are pretty expensive reels. You should be able to get a very good reel for $200 to $300, but they're not the $400 or $500. So the Daiwa, the high-end is Japan. Mid-range or budget, they are in Thailand or China or Vietnam. That's Daiwa. Get down to Abu Garcia, the high end, they're made in Sweden. Budget and entry level, made in China, South Korea or Taiwan. Some of the reels from Daiwa are also made in Taiwan. Luz, South Korea, China, 13 Fishing, Asia, South Korea, Quantum, China, South Korea, Okuma, Taiwan or China. Just real quick. So I don't want to get any guff from any of you guys out there, well, they're not American made. Yeah, they're not American made, but they are an American company. The owners are American. They do all of their design, all of their sales offices and everything are right down in the heart of America, right in Texas. So with that, let's talk about these two reels. And again, the MG-Ti, which is this guy here, this is the magnesium frame with a titanium spool. The ALTI is a aluminum frame. This reel is right around $300 or $330. That's the MG-Ti, and the ALTI is about $200. So this ALTI would be comparably priced with a Shimano Curado. So let's go over some of the similarities and what they do. The MG-Ti, about $300. The frame is magnesium. The weight is 5.3 ounces, and these are, both of these, feather light. That's the first thing you're going to notice when you put them on a rod. And let's just say you've got any other reel on them. It's going to make that rod feel different right off the bat. So the weight for the MG-Ti is 5.3 ounces. Now, the AL is $230. It has an aluminum alloy frame. Still, they both have the same titanium spool. The AL comes in at 5.7, so just a little bit heavier than the MG-Ti. With that being said, are you going to notice that weight? Not really. So weight-wise, you don't have to worry about a whole lot. Either one of them is going to be super light. They're the same size, and I'll talk about the size on these things right off the bat. I like them because they are small reels. They're probably equal to about what generally I would say is a 75 or a 150. But with a reel this size, and I have I'll say an average size hand, I can palm these pretty darn easily. And that's a big deal for me because it not only gives me the advantage of palming it when I want to palm it, but when I'm using this grip here or maybe a different, several different grips, it gives me that advantage that I can change my grip on it through the course of the day. So I may use one grip when I'm using a jerk bait. I may use one grip when I'm using a bottom bouncing bait, so on and so forth. But I'm getting older. Sometimes my hands get tired. I've got some arthritis in them, and it's an advantage for me to use different grips. Both of these reels have 18 pounds of drag, and that is right at the upper end of any reel, not only in this category, but until you get over the $500, $600, $700 mark, you're not going to find a lot of reels that have 18 pounds of drag. But 18 pounds is that high side of the drag. When you set them, if you set them at 12, if you set them at 14, if you set them at 18, they are going to hold. They're not going to creep back on you through the course of the day where you're fishing for 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours without a bite. Here on the Delta, that happens because it's tidally influenced, so there's some dead periods here. You fish for that 2 hours and you got everything set up. Maybe you haven't messed around with your drag, and then you finally get that bite of a lifetime. You set the hook and the drag fails on you, or it's not set to where you set it at. When you set the drag on this, I'm going to put it up here so you can hear it. You can hear it click. So that's important to me also, because as I set my drag, each little increment, I could hear it click up a little bit. So I can test it, I can hear it click and set it just right. And listen to this. That's what it sounds like when the drag goes out. That's important too, because when you're fighting a big fish and you're looking in the trash, and you're looking, the trash meaning all the crap that fish, the submerged vegetation, the logs, the floating vegetation, when that fish is moving in there and I could hear that start to move, I can adjust that drag just a little bit and pull him out of there, because I am really focused on that fish visually, watching him where he or she may be going. And I don't want to be looking down at the reel to see if it's, my drag's holding. This audible drag setting and the audible drag when it clicks to go out are real important things. They both sound alike, they both feel alike. They both will handle a variety of different baits. I have put anywhere from 30 to 50 pound braid on them. I'm throwing the 30 pound braid and I'm throwing chatterbaits, I'm throwing crankbaits, I'm throwing toads, topwaters, things like that. If I go to a little heavier setup here, I've got a toad, which I fish like a jig almost. I may use 50 pound braid, and I may put maybe 20 pounds of leader on it, and I tend to set the drag harder so that I get I don't have exposed hooks. I want to set the hook. This 18 pound drag will set hook like no other. So both of these reels are excellent, and they both throw a variety of different baits. Now, the magnesium frame, I don't know the advantage of it, to tell you the truth. It's pretty, it's beautiful. If it gets scratched, you can have a rust problem with this magnesium frame. The AL, which is the cheaper reel, has an aluminum frame. It's a stronger frame, and you don't have to really worry about dings and dents on it. If it's not going to rust. So if you are in salt water, you definitely want it to go with the AI. If you're going to be in fresh water, the AI or the MG, the magnesium frame or the aluminum frame will work better for you. You may have to be a little more cautious with this magnesium frame, but I'm going to hold this up here. I've used this again for about 7 months, and I am not careful with these reels, and you can see there is no sign of wear on this, hardly at all. I'm really impressed with the way the finish is. I mean, if I was to clean this off, it'd look like it was new out of the box. These are not the reels you want to use for chucking big swim baits. When you have that 7'6", 7'8" rod, and you've got a 3 or 4 ounce bait on there, 5 ounce bait, and you're trying to chuck it out there a country mile. These are small spools. They got plenty of, for 90% of your bass fishing applications, they have plenty of line on them. I don't know the exact the exact number of yards that each one of them carry. But if you're going to be throwing great big baits, long distances, and doing this chuck and wind thing, you probably want to go with probably a 300 size reel. With that, with the weight the same, the drag's the same, I would go with, for the $230 compared to, I think it's $200 or $230 for the ALTI. I would choose the $200 model over the magnesium frame, or excuse me, yeah, the magnesium frame. $230, $330, I think these are around $200. By the way, if you decide to get any of these reels, you can get 10% off, and I think the discount code is SC10, and that'll get you 10% off any of these reels. So I would suggest going with this ALTI. It is a great reel. You can't go wrong with either the magnesium frame, titanium spool, or the aluminum frame, titanium spool. For $200, I'd go with this every day of the week. Great reels. I want to once again thank Kastking for providing me with the opportunity to do these reviews. And again, this ALTI, this is going to the Delta Saints right after I get done today. I'm going to use this MG-TI for 1 year. When I get done using it, I'll give you a 1-year review, and if it hasn't broken down in a year, nothing's gone wrong with it. This is going to probably go over to the San Joaquin Bassmasters, and they'll get this reel to raffle off. Until then, I'll be using that guy and hopefully catching a lot of fish. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments, and if you want to beat me up a little bit because I'm talking about Kastking, come on, bring it on, buddy. We can talk about why I like them, and if you don't like them, that's fine. But I'm giving you an honest opinion of both of those reels. And by the way, I've used every reel that we've talked about and where they're made. I've used them all. So thanks a lot. See you guys on the river. Good luck.